Chelsea has won the Champions League twice in their history, and that happened during the last decade. During those seasons, they were never favored to win the Champions League, and for good reason. The first time they won it in 2012, their core of players of Drogba, Lampard, John Terry, and the rest of them were going towards the end of their careers after having a lot of bad luck during their prime.
After the final whistle, we might hear more of this from UEFA. Disappointment, the despair. Play with these pictures because part of the story, not stop Drogba getting himself into further trouble.
During the mid-2000s, where they were losing to Liverpool, Barcelona, Man United in the final, and all those teams. And that Champions League took lots of grit and guts to get through, winning as underdogs, and the climax in the final where they played Bayern Munich in the Allianz Arena in Bayern Munich's home. They were on the verge of losing until Drogba did the impossible. Scoring a goal almost at the end of the game to take it to extra time, then ultimately sealing the deal for Chelsea to win their first Champions League in their history. Years ago was a little bit of the opposite. They had a very young team at the beginning of the season. Frank Lampard was the manager. They had a very, very young team that didn't really have that much experience, though they had some experienced players like Kante, Thiago Silva, Azpilicueta, just to name a few. And nobody really gave them a chance as well during that season. They surprised everyone. They absolutely outplayed Real Madrid in the semi-final, and I'm a Real Madrid fan. I was actually embarrassed in those ties. Like, Chelsea could have easily won that tie 7-1, easily. It was total dismantling. So the interesting thing during these seasons where Chelsea won the Champions League was they fired their manager earlier in the season. So am I driving at here? Chelsea do have a tendency of being absolutely shit during the season that they win the Champions League. And this season is beginning to look like that. If you look at this season, I know there is a caveat because they've sacked 2 managers instead of 1, like the other 2 seasons that it happened. But I just feel when it comes to these cup competitions, Chelsea is one of these very, very tough out teams. When last have you ever seen Chelsea being trashed by a big team? I can't remember when last. Like, Chelsea could be trashed by Wolves. They could be trashed by Brentford, one of these teams in the Premier League on an off day. But against a big team, no matter the form that they are, no matter how they are playing, Chelsea being trashed. I can't remember when last that happened. I know it has happened, obviously, but I can't remember. It's been a bit long since it has happened at least in my brain right now. So the idea that Madrid will just come in here and stroll to the victory and trash Chelsea, no matter what is happening right now, I think it's a bit delusional and frankly a bit arrogant in my opinion. Because if there's one thing that Chelsea has that a lot of the other big teams in the Champions League remaining do not have, Bayern Munich, Man City, I think Madrid play better against teams like that. Because if you watch Madrid in the last couple of years, they have struggled against teams that keep a low block and hit you on the counter. Because that's what Madrid do. Madrid are the specialists of that. We are the counter-attacking kings. We are the guys that do that. So, in my opinion, we would prefer to play that game against all these teams that attack like City and Bayern Munich, come out and attack, open spaces for the likes of Vinicius, Rodrigo to run in between, to hit on the counter. Now, I'm not saying that these teams can't still beat Madrid, but I feel like playing against teams like that is a bit easier. And if you could see against Barcelona in the Copa del Rey, the first leg, if you watch how Xavi played in the first leg, they played a bit on the low defensive. Unlike Barcelona, unlike the normal Barcelona, they played a bit defensive. And Madrid struggled in that game. Then came the second leg in the Camp Nou, and you saw how it went. Because in the Camp Nou, Barcelona has to come out and play because they can't play that football in their home. Like, the Nou Camp is not known for that. They have to come out, play entertaining, expansive football. But away, Xavi could do that, but at home they could not do that. And there was a lot of space. Look at that game. So much space. And I know that Barcelona missed a couple of players, but they still had the great Araujo. They still had Koundé. So they still had most of their defense in the team. So teams that play this way, Madrid struggle against. And Chelsea is the team that plays that way. Now with Lampard, I'm not really sure. I actually have a bit of better hope with Lampard than with Graham Potter. I know people think Graham Potter was shit, but at some point, he changed to 3 at the back, which I think is Chelsea's best formation. I think that is Chelsea's identity. Chelsea, when they have won things, they have not been this team that have tried to play expansive, attractive football. They've always been a tough team, a team that is tough, a team that has a tough spine. That's part of the reason why they're struggling right now. They can't win the league because those tough spine that they used to have in Drogba, Lampard, Terry, those tough guys, they're all gone. So now they just have a bunch of players that frankly aren't fit for that kind of thing. Chelsea have an identity crisis. You have owners that are trying to, do this whole long-term investment, attractive football. Meanwhile, at the end of the day, if you look at the club in the last 20 years, at least since Abramovich took over, they have just been a team that has always been a solid team at the back and, and hit you and be dangerous on the counter-attack or whatever. But bottom line is that they've always been a solid team at the back. And this season they've actually been a solid team at the back, funny enough. The fact that they have scored only 29 goals in 30 games and they're not in the relegation battle shows you that they have a good defense to an extent. So I'm not sure what Lampard is going to do, but I think if Chelsea go back to their roots, play the 3-5-2, which I think is their best formation, Madrid could struggle. Madrid could actually lose. They could get knocked out. But if he plays it 4 at the back, I think Madrid will stroll to the victory. But 3 at the back, Chelsea still have two of the best wing backs in world football. They still have good defenders. The Fofana is showing that he's a very, very good defender. Koulibaly, when he plays with Fofana, plays very, very well. And maybe put another person by the left side there. I don't know why they did not register by the Achille, but whatever. Without that defense and with Enzo playing very, very well, actually. Enzo, Kante, 2 guys. I mean, Kante with Kante and Enzo in the middle there. And whatever you have in front there, you have. The point is that all Chelsea will need is just 1 goal. Just 1. So, but I think Lampard is fixated on the 4 at the back. So I believe Madrid will win. But you can't really say. Every time Chelsea have always looked like that, down and out, that is when they rear up their ugly head. So I personally cannot write them off the way some other people, Madrid fans, or even neutral fans are writing them off right now. So I put this question to you. Can Chelsea do it again in a season that they have been shit for the most part and they come on to win the Champions League? Do you think it's going to be possible this season or not? Let me know down in the comments. Peace.